How many of you came out here today because you want to learn how to do better in this challenging economy? How many of you are finding that the resources that you have gathered from the Retail Merchants Association are valuable and helpful to you in your daily business life? Well, we're going to try and step that up one more notch, and as I introduce you, just please come forward. We have 4 really great resources in the Retail Merchants Association who have volunteered their time to come in and talk to you about how you can thrive in this economy.
You cannot save your way out of a recession. One of the places not to get your savings would be to kill your effective sales programs or marketing and advertising that's working for you. If your top line is going down, I assure you that your bottom line will follow. Cost of goods sold, dealing with suppliers and vendors. This is the time to ask for their best pricing. And if you get pushback, ask again and make them explain why not. We also have some excellent barter organizations in town. That's a way to redeploy some of your underutilized capacity in exchange for something that you would normally spend cash for. Keeping your team together is really important because it is expensive to replace them. Look into some of the creative ways that companies are saving money on payroll, such as shortening the work week for everybody. Retailers, inventory is a big deal for you. A lot of cash flow can get bottled up in your business in inventory. It's important to have systems in place to figure out which lines are really producing gross profit for you. Figure out if your website needs to be updated, and maybe it needs to become a working site as opposed to an electronic brochure. Maybe you can move sales of some of those products to your website. Family-owned businesses, you need to look carefully and make sure that there's a bottom line contribution to those extra mouths sitting around the business table. If someone in that family can go outside and get an outside job, it's something to seriously consider.
What are we experiencing here at our firm? Contract negotiations involving buyers and sellers and landlords and tenants. And again, either by necessity or by opportunity, just about everything is on the negotiating table today. Rent is one of your biggest expenditures after labor, and landlords recognize that it's a soft market for real estate. So they're willing to take reduced rents and change other terms in their leases to accommodate you. But they're business owners who realize that they've got to make a buck, that it's a tough economy, and frankly, that having somebody in there paying rent is better than an empty space. Timing is everything. Approach the landlord early and make him part of the process. Going dark is almost never a good idea. Do your homework. Understand what your lease says. You'd be surprised at how many clients come in with commercial leases and they've got problems and they don't know what their lease said. Now, this is not light reading. I appreciate that. But know what's in there. Defenses are few. Most commercial leases, the terms favor the landlords. So know what you have. Gather information for rents on comparable properties in your area. Do some backgrounding. And a commercial realtor with experience in commercial real estate can really help you with that. You might have to agree to extend the term of the lease to give the landlord more certainty. Ask for a temporary rent abatement to get you over the hump. If you can't get the rent reduced, ask the landlord to drop the rent escalator. Freeze the rent for a period of time. Pick up some or all of the CAM charges or the maintenance costs. It's all negotiable. It's all on the table. And this is not easy, but necessarily if you have to vacate, see if you can arrange a sublease. That way you only have to make up the difference. You won't be on the hook for the entire rent.
Well, good morning. I am a volunteer with SCORE, and I do also have my own business. SCORE is the Service Corps of Retired Executives. It's an all-volunteer organization. They work without pay, and we have very high expectations and principles that we work under. The things that we offer at SCORE are monthly how to start your own business, practical mini workshops, unlimited free one-on-one counseling for small businesses, which is very important, unlimited free, and quite a few other services as well. Cost reduction. I think the good way to start would be to use the Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 rule. Lots of people have heard that already, or what that is, know what that is. And you take all of your expenses, get as detailed as you possibly can, list them in order from highest to lowest, take the 20%, work on those, and then start working down. Make sure that the owner approves all the checks, take advantage of interest-bearing checking accounts, of course, get lines of credit at a couple different banks, accept credit card payments from your customers. The charge for that is anywhere from 2 to 5%. but it does improve your cash flow because you can get that money right away. Interest rates are way down. You can refinance your existing loans. We're talking about a barter network. There are two of them already in Richmond. One is Bankmark, the other is James River Trade Exchange. It's an interesting concept. There's an upfront fee. It's about $500 with the James River Trade Exchange, a bit less in some cases, but it's a good idea. Sell idle assets, inventory, machinery, everything that you have in inventory you're paying interest on. So you have to factor that into what this costs you. Converting your employees from weekly payroll to semi-monthly or bi-weekly. You can earn loyalty points for credit cards, frequent flyer miles. Employee theft, they call it shrinkage in the retail industry. It's one of your biggest losses. One way is to lock up supplies and make sure, if you can, find a way to encourage employees to, the honest ones to turn in the dishonest ones. You can cut your long-distance telephone charges using Skype or Vonage, which your telephone goes through your computer. It doesn't cost you anything. You can adjust your business hours to demand, lease rather than purchase your vehicles, cancel insurance on vehicles that you don't have.
Cost reduction can be a viable alternative to avoiding the layoff situation, because there's actually a cost to lay off and then you have a future cost to rehire, so you actually will save money in the long run. Set a goal. Understand where you're trying to go. Pick out a few categories and really understand the components of a given expense category. Not just what things cost, but the service requirements you have, the quality requirements you have. You have to understand the whole picture. Ask your employees for suggestions. They have a lot of insight to what's going on in your business, and they may have some great suggestions that if you implement them, could be very successful for you. So let's start on merchant card fees. You need to make sure you understand all of the fees involved, your net effective rate. That goes beyond your discount rate that you might be getting from your provider. Ensure you're using updated procedures and that you have the right number of terminals and access points in your organization. The office and break room supplies, think about and consider using house names over brand names. That can save you anywhere up to 30%. I also talk about the 80% rule with my clients. Create a contract list with your current suppliers and follow the 80% rule, where 80% of your spend and 80% of your items purchased appear on that contract list for your organization. Overnight small package freight category. Make sure you're using a service that's appropriate. If you don't have that time delivery requirement, you may think about using some less expensive alternatives. Telecommunications. Make sure you are using everything you're paying for. You may also want to consider bringing on a consultant. They do help level the playing field between you and your suppliers. Make sure they're independent and accept no remuneration from any suppliers. Make sure that they work on your behalf, but leave you in control. And make sure they let their results speak for themselves and that they only accept fees out of the savings they achieve for you.